Good evening, everyone. From New York, I'm Ayman Mohyeldin in for Chris Hayes. After leveling out following the Omicron wave, COVID cases are starting to tick back up across the United States. In fact, the New York Times is reporting that the U.S. is averaging nearly 40,000 daily cases. And yet, a federal judge just issued a massive blow to basic public health measures across this country. U.S. District Judge Kathryn Kimball Mizelle has overturned the federal mask mandate for airplanes and other forms of public transportation. She said that the CDC overstepped its boundaries by justifying the mask mandate as a form of, quote, sanitation. And while her decision has been criticized by some legal observers who point out that masks do, in fact, sanitize the area around them by stopping the spread of the virus and by stopping the transmission of droplets, it is nevertheless now in effect across this country. And tonight we are learning that the Department of Justice may appeal the ruling if the CDC thinks extending the ban is necessary. But as of right now, major airlines like Delta, JetBlue, United, American, and Southwest, they've all basically lifted their mask requirements to travel. And in some cases, they actually announced the change while passengers were already seated.
I just checked with the company, and the company position is, the Delta position is, masks will be optional this evening for all crew and passengers as well. So it is cause to celebrate, but for those who want to wear masks, please feel free to, but it is optional, and that way we can alleviate any stress and discomfort. Thank you very much.
All right, so let's be clear about this. This decision will have a massive ramification for public health and the spread of COVID in this country. Less than a week ago, the CDC was arguing to keep the travel mask requirements in place because the facts are pretty clear. Masks do work. They are effective at slowing the spread of COVID, especially in an enclosed area like a bus or even an airplane. And late last year, the largest randomized study of its kind, a joint effort between Yale University and Stanford and UC Berkeley, found that, quote, increased mask wearing led to a significant reduction in the number of people with COVID-19 based on symptom reporting and antibody testing. But one federal judge can now overturn the will of the public health experts in this country, who are actually tasked with keeping us healthy in the middle of a pandemic. And why? Because that judge, who is rated unqualified to be a judge, has the sole power to loosely or narrowly interpret the word sanitation and change the rules for hundreds of millions of Americans. And the person responsible for all of this is U.S. District Judge Kathryn Kimball Mizelle, a former clerk for Justice Clarence Thomas, who was appointed by none other than Donald Trump. Now, even though Judge Mizelle was just 33 years old at the time of her lifetime appointment, and even though she was determined to be not qualified by the American Bar Association, she nonetheless passed confirmation in the Senate, as you probably guessed it, along a party line vote. She was just one of hundreds of judges that were appointed by Donald Trump, young, ideological conservatives who will now shape the judiciary for generations to come. This was the deal with the devil that Mitch McConnell and other Republicans made when Donald Trump got elected. They basically agreed to blindly support this man who was obviously unfit to serve, even though many of them privately disliked him, and in exchange for the ability to churn out as many judicial nominations as possible. And guess what? That bargain paid off because Trump's judges are already reshaping the judicial landscape in this country. They are issuing rulings that are affecting the lives of millions of Americans, like a 2021 decision undermining the Fair Housing Act, which exists to fight housing discrimination for people of color. There was a notorious case, the majority which included 5 Trump-appointed judges who basically ruled against a black plaintiff, this plaintiff argued that his landlord refused to act when his neighbor began a campaign of racialized terror against him. Quote, Francis said the landlord did nothing while his neighbor harassed him several times for being black, including with racial insults and a death threat. And Trump-appointed judges also issued a ruling in 2020 which overturned 2 Florida cities' bans on so-called conversion therapy for LGBTQ children, where counselors' attempts to change someone's sexuality or gender identity even though, and let's be clear about it, even though the American Psychological Association deemed the practice not ethically permissible. And then there is, of course, the Supreme Court, where you have 3 Trump-appointed justices, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, the latter 2 replacing Justices Anthony Kennedy and Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a moderate and liberal, respectively. And with those appointments, dramatically altering the ideological makeup of the court in a more conservative direction. And that court speaks for itself. The Supreme Court has already undermined President Joe Biden's vaccine mandates for large employers. It has further gutted the historic Voting Rights Act in this country, leaving it a shell of what it once was. The court also appears poised to overturn New York's strict gun control laws, which could have massive consequences for public safety. And, of course, it looks as though it will overturn Roe versus Wade, undoing a half a century of reproductive rights in this country. Now, these are all groundbreaking decisions, just like the mask mandate decision that was made earlier, which have the potential to fundamentally alter the lives of tens of millions of people in this country. And we are now just beginning to see the consequences of Donald Trump's changes to our courts.